Is I am Iron Man.
Rock and roll! The Texans win it!
You've been called the Da Vinci of our time. What do you say to that?
Absolutely ridiculous. I don't paint.
That goal is history! A walk-off home run!
And it's going to be legendary.
James Pledger wraps your day with insight, opinion, plenty of sarcasm, and of course, your calls. He'll even pour a beer out the door for his favorite story of the day. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. Now, here's Pledge.
What's up, Dave? Can't stop me now.
Welcome into Extra Innings with Pledger right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I am James Pledger. Thanks for joining me, however you may be joining me, whether that is on 94.1 FM. If you're listening via our AA Best Bail Bonds audio player at sasportstar.com, or if you're one of the many that watches via our YouTube channel at SA Sports Star, you can also get at me on the phone lines, 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776 if you want to be a part of the conversation. Or just tweet at me at I am Pledger, both on Instagram, Threads, and the X platform. Welcome into Extra Innings. I appreciate everybody for joining me this evening. We've got a big show coming up, and I start off the same way I start off my Sports Center. USA Basketball gets that big win over Canada, but I have questions after everything that happened. Anthony Edwards scores 13. Curry adds 12. They're tuning up for Paris. They've got another game coming up on Monday. And they add players like Drew Holiday with 11, Anthony Davis with 10. They kind of put the clamps down on Canada's pros. Dylan Brooks and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander were each held to 10 points, while RJ Barrett scored 12. Joel Embiid fouled out in 12 minutes, which puts a strain on things, obviously, defensively for that team, because your next biggest guy is Bam Adebayo. And if Embiid's going to be in foul trouble, especially against a team like France that has Wemby and Rudy Gobert, I wonder about the sustainability of play with a team that feels like it lacks in the front court the way this USA team seems to lack in the front court. Now, they got off to a slow start. They were down 11-1 before the game really even got going halfway through the first quarter. But from there on, they went on a run. They ended up at the half up 40-22. They shot 60 almost and stretched that lead out going into the fourth quarter. So obviously they overcame the slow start, and you would expect that. Those guys have been together for 3 days getting ready for this exhibition match against Canada. Next, they'll get Patty Mills and the Australian team. I'm just wondering if they have enough time to figure things out, and more drama from Team USA as Kawhi Leonard backs out of Team USA, or, USA and the Clippers make him back out, or however you want to spin it. Kawhi Leonard is no longer on that team, replaced by Derek White. That's great. How are Jason Tatum, Drew Holiday, and Derek White the three players from the Boston Celtics that make Team USA, and not Jaylen Brown? Jaylen Brown's even a closer comp as a defender, as an offensive threat to Kawhi Leonard than is Derek White. Is it because they're worried about Jaylen Brown needing more touches than would a Derek White? Because that's That's where it comes from. You got a lot of stars on that team. You got a lot of star power. Anthony Edwards, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Steph Curry, Jason Tatum, Devin Booker. Only one ball. Is everybody going to accept whatever role is needed that game? Who's the closer on this team? How do they have enough time to figure this out before they get into a closer game, a closer opponent? By the time they get to pool play, by the time they get into the knockout rounds, medal rounds, or will their first test on being able to figure out who needs to play what position in what moments of the game going to be in an all-important game they must have? It may be easier to define those roles when you have a Drew Holiday and a Derek White on the team and not a Jaylen Brown. But judging by Jaylen Brown's Twitter, he is not happy with the decision made. And you wonder what that might possibly mean for the upcoming season, saying three of his teammates are on that team and he is not, and he was the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. But it's a lot easier to tell Drew Holiday or Derek White, look, we got to go this direction, or, hey, I need you to go in there, but you are the fifth offensive option. Then it might be a Jaylen Brown. Or this could go even deeper than that. I'll tell you what, though. The destruction of Drake continues. Because this was wonderful. As soon as the game ends and they're playing it in Las Vegas, they beat Canada in Las Vegas. And remember, Drake is Canadian. Over the speakers, what do you hear? They not like us. They not like us. They not like us. As they're playing Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar, which is just dragging Drake the entire way through. And remember, LeBron, DeMar DeRozan, Westbrook, Harden, Kawhi, they were all at that Kendrick Lamar pop-out concert in California earlier on Juneteenth. And there is a diabolical nature to the systematic destruction that K-Dot is putting on Drake, and I'm here for it, because also earlier this week, Canada in those Copa playing Argentina, a picture of the team after their win over Canada, knowing Drake bet on Canada in that match. And congrats to their social department. Picture of them all hugging midfield after the win. Not like us, up above it in a bold font. And then they doubled down with another post that has the Not Like Us song playing. Drake is getting just drug left and right ever since this beef started in March, April. And it has been unrelenting from Kendrick Lamar on what they've been doing to him. I haven't seen anything quite like it, and I am not mad about it in the slightest, because it is a beautiful thing to watch. Pettiness on display at its highest level. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. I am James Pledger right here on San Antonio Sports Star. Coming up next, Jason Minix from the Blitz will be joining me as we get set to discuss Cowboys training camp coming up, the Spurs off season, and if the marketing rumors may finally have been put to bed, and if the Spurs will be going to this into the season as constructive for the most part. All that more coming up here on Extra Innings with Jason Minix on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
San Antonio Sports Star.
The John Clay Wolf Show. Here's what's going on in the Wolf Pack.
The whole thing, if you go back to the COVID moment, and here comes the Tiger King.
Everybody's going to go back in the history books. It's going to say COVID, and then it's going to say Tiger King.
This crazy gay meth head tiger tamer.
And his main squeeze, 3 teeth on bottom, 2 on top.
The John Clay Wolf Show.
Catch the John Clay Wolf Show Saturdays from 9 a.m. to noon right here on San Antonio Sports Star.
Home ownership. At Progressive, we know it's part of the American dream. It's majestic golden eagles and other less majestic birds taunting you through the baseball-sized hole in your new windows. It's soaring guitar solos performed through faulty wiring in your garage, which subsequently erupts into flames. It's also around-the-clock protection when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive, which can help keep the American dream of home ownership alive and kicking. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Hi, everyone. If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, we have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions. They'll tell you if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-205-5350. So if you've been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, call now. Find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-205-5350 to speak with a live person now.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
No one knows the importance of a great assist more than Lowe's and Leo Messi. That's why we've teamed up to give My Lowe's Rewards members 10 times the points when Messi makes an assist during CONMEBOL Copa America USA 2024. Activate this offer starting June 20th, so when Messi assists, you score. Shop the day after an assist to earn those extra points. Not a My Lowe's Rewards member? Join for free today. Visit Lowe's.com/Messi for more details.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Diego.
Hi, Diego. It's Jennifer Coolidge. I just want to say your cashback match makes me feel so special. It really inspired me.
That's great. Doubling the cashback you've earned at the end of your first year is what we do.
Well, I'm doubling everything now. Double dating, double dipping, double feature, double header, double whammy. Basically double or nothing.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/credit card.
Is your vehicle stopping like it should? Does it squeal or grind when you brake? Don't miss out on summer brake deals at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on his shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding or a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Grainger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Get a $10 O'Reilly Auto Parts gift card after rebate when you buy 5 quarts of Mobil 1 Full Synthetic Motor Oil in-store or online.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
When your business needs an electrician, for over 35 years, the family-owned Hill Electric has served San Antonio. Powered by relationships with dedicated estimators who analyze the issue, research cost-effective solutions, and clearly communicate the options without charging you a dime. A proven process that allows you to continue focusing on your unique purpose. Call Hill Electric at 210-404-9074. That's 404-9074. Or hill-electric.com.
Have you gotten your hands on Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds at HEB yet? Southern Recipe small batch offers big, bold flavors like hot honey, spicy dill, and sea salt and cracked black pepper. Bonus, you're going to love the low-carb, high-protein crunch. Turn snack time from ordinary to extraordinary with flavorful pork rinds. Pick up your favorite flavors of Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds at HEB today.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star and the Gomez Law Firm present the first annual back-to-school drive. Saturday, August 3rd from noon till 2 p.m. while supplies last at Gomez Law Firm, 2943 Moss Rock Drive. Free backpacks and school supplies for all school-aged children. Only while supplies last, so don't be late. Saturday, August 3rd from noon to 2 p.m. at Gomez Law Firm, 2943 Moss Rock Drive. Presented by the Gomez Law Firm and in part by Las Palapas, ProStar Home Care Services, and 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
This is Jim Rome. Join me weekdays at noon, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I am James Pleasure. Thanks for joining me this evening. Joining me now via the Buyers Barricades guest line, co-host of The Blitz, which you can catch from 2 to 6 weekdays right here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, Jason Minix. And I want to cut through everything, all to be and get to the biggest question I have. That chicken you did, and if you haven't seen it, go to Jason Minix's Instagram, at Jason Minix. That Pollo Sasados chicken you did is absolutely stunningly beautiful. Did it match taste-wise what it looked like?
Yes, it did. In fact, I was just talking to my wife trying to figure out dinner, and she was going to use it to make something tonight. And I said, you can't. I've got to take it to Pledge tomorrow. So we've got to come up with something else for dinner tonight because it really was that good. And if you're going to my Instagram story, you got a couple hours because it will disappear. But, the color on it was great with pollo asada. And if you've made pollo asada, you know what I'm talking about with the recipe and that. But what I did differently yesterday is I got a drumstick hanger not long ago, and so your chicken is hanging over the fire as opposed to laying on the grill grates. And with that, everything it's supposed to have everything cook a little bit more even and that sort of stuff. But without it laying on the grill grates, you're not getting any of the char that's on there, so the color stays damn near perfect throughout without the char that you would have. And I think that's why it just looked different than when I've done it before.
Well, I appreciate you putting in that work to your wife to make sure that I got a taste of it.
Well, and it is up to me to remember this tomorrow morning when I'm leaving that, I've got to pack Pledger's lunch. But, like any school kid, sometimes you get sent to school without your lunch.
It happens. That is for sure. I've gone without lunch before. I can do it again if something happens to it. But as we look, y'all ended the show talking about something that John McClain got y'all on with the Dallas Cowboys, with the questions surrounding how the team is built and what the potential outcomes are in terms of running back, depth at receiver, and linebacker. I think those are probably the three biggest questions as you head into camp. And the idea that maybe they're just waiting on a trade with a team or a team that's just overloaded at a position, like maybe Miami at running back, maybe Houston at receiver, to scoop in and sweep someone up there.
Starting with running back is the one position group solidified, and they certainly lack depth. They've got guys, but do they have a legit RB1? And Zeke has that right now in the emeritus role, but we knew what Zeke was like when he left Dallas. We all applauded Jerry Jones for making the right decision to part ways with Ezekiel Elliott. Jerry has a habit of hanging on to a player a year too long, where, say, Bill Belichick in New England would let go of a guy a year or two sooner rather than later. It's, how long has this been in the fridge? Can I still eat it again? When you're talking about leftovers. So that's the frustrating part, that Zeke is back, because we knew those tires were bald when he was released, and he goes to New England, and now we're bringing him back. Now, can he have a role on this team in short yardage situation? Yes. And if you're following Hard Knocks with the Giants, I do think the Cowboys and Zeke probably were in the same boat that the Giants were with Saquon, about not wanting to make a disrespectful offer. And I'd rather let you go than do that. And I think the Cowboys probably did that, because there was no way that I think the Cowboys or Zeke or the guys in that locker room would have respected Tony Pollard as the RB1 if Zeke were still there in a backup role. I just don't see that. So I think the Cowboys did make the right decision 2 years ago, bringing him back. Good decision, bad decision. He can't be your RB1 though. If he's truly in a short yardage kind of role, but right now we don't know if Rico Dowdell is better. We say what you want about Deuce Vaughn, and I'll give Reinego credit. I mean, what he did at Kansas State, with what we've seen through 1 year in the NFL, he's not that. So the running back for the Cowboys, who is going to be the leading rusher, I maintain still is not on the roster. How they get that guy remains to be the mysterious question.
Jason Minix of the Blitz joining me here on Extra Innings with Pleasure. As we say with the Cowboys, we talk a lot about the contracts and whether CeeDee Lamb will show up at training camp, likely not. But I'm starting to think the entirety of these contract situations starts and ends with Dak Prescott, because his seems to be the most important in terms of the $59+ million cap hit. That CD's is only 17.9. So if you get his extension done, it doesn't lower the cap figure as much as Dak Prescott's does in order to spur other signings along.
Well, it's Dak's the most important because he's the quarterback, and again, trying to figure out. Now, I know Minnesota has signed a receiver to a crazy contract, market setting, and they parted ways with their quarterback. I have a hard time believing that Jerry will pay CeeDee Lamb $32, $34, $35.1 million and not have a bona fide quarterback. But I think he'll get whichever agent gets a deal done first will be first. I don't know if there's really I've got to get this done to do that. But it's not only Dak's number this year, but it's his dead money in years after, because he has all those voidable years. So there's a lot of things that they've got to manipulate with Dak's contract to get it done. And the idea of a shorter contract generally I wouldn't put much into that when it comes to Jerry, but in this case it might, because the only leverage CeeDee Lamb has is, he's the best player you have on offense, but they could tag him. There's some things they could do that would piss off CeeDee Lamb for sure, but at the same time, there's not the deadline to get a deal done with CD like there is with Dak Prescott. CD is not a pending free agent after this season like Dak Prescott is.
Gut feeling, you don't see CeeDee Lamb when you show up to camp and Dak gets his deal sometime during camp?
I do. And well, I do think that CD without a deal will not show up in Oxnard at the beginning of camp. And he might show up and hold in just to save the money and the fines. But I don't think CD misses any regular season games. I really don't. So a training camp holdout is one thing. I don't know. It doesn't benefit him to miss games because the accrual year that if he were to sit out however many games it is, then he would be back in the same boat. So, the business side of it says he might not be at training camp, and that sends his message, but I don't see him missing regular season games.
And as always, lack of storylines when y'all get to Oxnard here in 2 weeks from Sunday for AA Best Bail Bonds Dallas Cowboys training camp coverage. As we switch over to the Spurs, they announced the trade with Harrison Barnes. They announced the actual signing with Chris Paul. It's looking less and less like Lauri Markkanen will happen, and I highly doubt that they want to meet the number that a Brandon Ingram wants when it comes to an extension. Could we kind of see the end of what their moves are throughout this portion of free agency and just kind of a couple of minor signings, maybe bringing back somebody that they had to waive in order to make these acquisitions happen, and then rolling into the season as is?
It's possible. And like right now, it's on paper a better team than what the Spurs had last year. I don't know that Lauri Markkanen is dead, unlikely, any of that. It's gotten awful quiet, which is the way the Spurs probably want it. And until Danny Ainge says, I'm not taking any more calls, Lauri Markkanen is here, blah, 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 I'll believe it. So, or he gets traded to somewhere else. So I'll always keep that in the back burner. And I think the moves that I agree with you on Brandon Ingram. So that one, less likely. But I do think unless the Spurs make a drastic move, they are planning to at least have the chance at Lauri Markkanen, and their moves have all kind of done that this offseason. Their Ingram, Barnes and Chris Paul don't affect what you can maybe go do to get Lauri Markkanen, and they don't affect 25 and beyond. And they haven't done anything yet this offseason that would impact them or prohibit them from working the deal for Lauri Markkanen with what's out there. So it's almost like, I've committed these. Like when you go somewhere and you make a reservation and they swipe your card and there's that hold on there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that hold seems to be on the San Antonio Spurs offseason right now, and it hasn't fallen off yet. So all their moves are still kind of like, all right, well, if Lauri's in play, they can still make that deal and they're fine. And yeah, you're right. Without an Ingram deal, and I agree, it's the money he's going to want. Do the Spurs want that? So yeah, I could see a pieces and parts. I don't know that they're done, but without a Lauri Markkanen, the big shopping is done. Now they're looking for side dishes.
And if that's truly the way they go, how good can this Spurs team be? Because we all agree this is a better team at this point this year than at any point last season. And how good they can be might just come down to how big of a jump in his incredible game that Victor Wembanyama takes, because we saw at the end of last year, that guy started playing like a 5-year vet.
Well, at the end of last year, he also started playing with a fully functional point guard, and he'll open the season with a fully functioning point guard to start this next season. It's hard to say how good this team really is, because it's really hard to say how bad were they last year, how bad were they the year before when we knew they were tanking. And I think last year the Sohan experiment cost them I don't know how many games. So were they better than what the record shows? Maybe, but your record is what your record is. But 2 years ago, we knew they were trying to lose. So I thought just the addition of Wemby, and I thought they, gave away at least 10 games the year before. Were they really a 22-win team or 20-win team or a 32-win team? I still look at the Spurs next year as currently constructed with what they have on paper. No other moves. I'm going to guess they're going to be around 500. Margin of error, 4 games either way. Actually, probably not 4 games over. I don't see them being close to 50, but the high 30s, low 40s, scratching for a play-in, I think is a possibility. And I think that might be a conservative estimate, but I don't know how bad they were last year. And, I thought they were, especially at the end of the year, were they better than what they thought? Because even then they lost games that you felt like they should have won down the stretch.
He is Jason Minix of the Blitz every single weekday from 2 to 6 with Joe Reinigold. Jason, appreciate the time this evening.
Appreciate your pledge.
That is Jason Minix. Join me on the Buyers Barricades guest line. They provide traffic control, rental, and sales for San Antonio and beyond. Barricades.com. More with the Spurs, and if they're done this offseason, coming up next here on Extra Innings with Pledger. Plus, your phone calls. You want to get on the conversation, anything that we've talked about, 210-656-ESPN. That is 210-656-3776 if you want to be a part of the conversation, or just comment along in our YouTube chat. Go to the YouTube channel, search SA Sports Star, like, subscribe. You can comment along with the show. Spurs off season. Is it done? We'll talk about it next here on Extra Innings with Pledger on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star and the Gomez Law Firm present the first annual Back to School Drive. Saturday, August 3rd from noon till 2 p.m. while supplies last at Gomez Law Firm, 2943 Moss Rock Drive. Free backpacks and school supplies for all school-aged children. Only while supplies last, so don't be late. Saturday, August 3rd from noon to 2 p.m. at Gomez Law Firm, 2943 Moss Rock Drive. Presented by the Gomez Law Firm and in part by Las Palapas, ProStar Home Care Services, and 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Train heating and cooling systems are tested, retested, engineered, and re-engineered to keep up with you. We run together. Visit traininfo.com to find your local independent train dealer. Traininfo.com. It's hard to stop a train.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this: if something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My car really needs a wash.
The $20 McGuire's bundle includes Gold Class Car Wash for a showroom shine.
Get in zone.
And what about my tires?
Just spray the included Hot Shine tire coating and you're all set.
Get in zone.
The inside is not great.
No problem. The quick interior detailer in the bundle can help with that too.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Buyers Barricades is proud to provide traffic control, rental, and sales for work zones and events in the San Antonio area and beyond. Buyers Barricades, the Texas authority in barricade rental. Learn more online at buyersbarricades.com. That's buyersbarricades.com.
The best things in life, they come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 tacos. And now for a limited time, get our best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. Visit consumercellular.com or call 1-888-FREEDOM. Second and third month of monthly base service fee waived for new customers with the purchase of a phone and activation by July 31st, 2024. Taxes, fees, and third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6580. That's 800-583-6580.
With a true Vegas feel, the Big Blind is the premier poker room in San Antonio, featuring an upscale environment, catering to players from all abilities. From high-octane tournaments or lively cash games, the Big Blind has a game for everyone, including blackjack tournaments. From the owners of the Roo Pub and the Angry Elephant, the Big Blind is locally owned and operated, offering daily cash games to daily, weekly, and monthly tournaments. Learn more online at thebigblindsa.com. The Big Blind at 281 and Redland Road.
If you miss the Blitz with Jason and Joe, then you miss this.
All the jokes about LeBron sleeping with his teammate's mom. Wow.
Wait a minute, what? Who'd LeBron sleep with?
His teammate's mother.
Oh, you did?
Well, yes.
Bronny's teammate's mother.
LeBron is sleeping with his teammate's mother. It's not that hard to figure out,
No,
Joe.
I'm trying to, whose teammate are we talking about?
Bronny and LeBron are teammates.
Okay.
LeBron is sleeping with his teammate's mother. He is sleeping with Bronny's mother.
I get you. Okay, all right.
It wasn't that hard to figure out.
I thought we had a spectacle going on here.
It really does.
Oh, man.
Sometimes, Ryan Nagel.
Right home with the Blitz. Afternoons 2 to 6 on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Welcome into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I am James Pleasure. If you want to be a part of the show, feel free to call in 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776, or you can comment along on our YouTube channel at SA Sports Star. Like, subscribe, comment along with the show. I appreciate all of y'all for rolling in today. The San Antonio Spurs offseason starting to wind down. They had Chris Paul. They make the trade for Harrison Barnes. Great additions to a roster that needed A, veteran presences, but B, also effective players on the defensive side of the ball, which is an area outside of Victor Wembanyama where this team struggled a lot last year. And I think those additions will help to negate a lot of those things. But the question is, how good can this team be, especially if they're done. And the latest when it comes to Lauri Markkanen, as I'm reading as of today, as of right now, several notable teams have been linked to him, including the Spurs, Warriors, Kings, and Heat. However, any remaining hopes that those teams and their fans had of finalizing a blockbuster trade for Markkanen were dashed following a surprising new update on his status, as the Athletics Jazz insider Tony Jones reports that some, quote, within the league who have grown more convinced that the Jazz, after exploring Markkanen's trade market, plan to renegotiate and extend him using their saved up cap space, which, by the way, we talked about.
This is Andrew Monaco.
We talked about the Jazz are one of the teams that are below the salary cap floor, and they need to spend to get to the cap floor, which is why I thought if they're sending out a Markkanen, you've got to send a Collins and a Keldon in return just to help them spend to get up to the cap floor when you take that Markkanen contract on. But if they're going to use that cap space, extend him and keep him in Utah, if that's their plan, especially when we're looking at that August 6th deadline, that kind of does it, at least up until the trade deadline, when the moratorium for him to be traded after signing that extension would actually kick in. Now, we did find out that Chris Paul has signed a 1-year, $10.5 million contract from Bobby Marks of ESPN, and it's got 8 sets of bonuses in this contract, including a $262,000 incentive if the Spurs, or the team he finishes the season with, finishes with 32 wins or more. So that's the kind of money that Chris Paul will be getting, which on its face, a little bit less than what we thought. 1 year, 11 million, 10.5, depending on incentives now. And I kind of think that one of the players, maybe 2 players that they kind of waived to get to this, will end up re-signing. I know I saw in here Paul A says he feels like they bring back Sandro Mamushkishvili. I also think that wouldn't be a bad re-signing for San Antonio. I like Mamu. I think he played a very good role down the stretch with Wemby and this Spurs team when they were beating teams like Denver, when he had a very pronounced role in some of those late wins in the season. Gilberto Padilla wants to know what kind of money Ben Simmons may be looking for besides too much. Look, Ben Simmons is a fun experiment that we all had a lot of fun with, but it doesn't matter what he's asking for at this point. I just don't want him on the team. Prove you can be healthy, because you haven't done that, and there are just too many. He has to prove that he's not scared to shoot it anymore. There are a list of things that need to happen with Ben Simmons for me to want to go back into the ability to take a flyer on someone like him. But at the same time, that talent is there, and someone will always take a chance on talent depending the cost. Manny M says this is a 40-win team. Look, I could see this going a bunch of different ways. With the additions of Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes playing alongside of Victor Wembanyama, Keldon Johnson coming off the bench, you've got Jeremy Sohan, you've got Devin Vassell. Both of those players hopefully take leaps. It looks like Jeremy Sohan, if you were paying attention to Poland, defense has gotten a lot better with Jeremy Sohan so far this offseason and towards the end of last year before he got hurt. If that continues and that growth continues, and you can get kind of, 10, 6, whatever from him, a Draymond Green-like stat line where he doesn't need to be your main guy, but he's going to tick a whole bunch of boxes and just kind of do all the little things that equate to winning. and you got a legitimate point guard that knows how to get Wemby the ball and get them engaged, I think that is already wins in and of itself. And then you add not just a 3-point specialist like a Doug McDermott or a Seti Osman, but a 3-point specialist, someone that stretches the floor, that also defends at a very high level in Harrison Barnes. Now on the outside, I could see this team being much better than people are giving them credit for. 40 wins, 50 wins. I could see it. I could also see this thing going completely sideways where they're better. They're not getting blown out by 20 like they were at points last year, but they're losing closer games because the West is just stacked, because you've got a Denver, because you've got Minnesota, because you've got Golden State, and you've got Sacramento and the Lakers and the Mavericks and all of these other teams that are just in the way. The one caveat is Houston has not done a whole lot this offseason. And with their lack of action this offseason, I could easily see the Spurs being one of those teams that jumps them, jumps the Jazz, jumps a couple of the teams that were just barely in front of them. The question is, how good do the Spurs want to be by the end of the year when you're talking about potential lottery odds in a stacked class with an opportunity to get a Cooper Flag when you can have a couple of chances at it along with Atlanta? The Atlanta thing, though, I just don't know how good they're going to be. I could see them being a play-in team. I could see them being a 5 to 8 seed and making a run because Trae Young got hot. Because Trae Young is that dude. I know a lot of people forgot it. He and DeJounte just didn't work together. It just didn't work. And so they're going to be addition by subtraction, I think, in terms of, it's not like they lost a whole bunch of talent. They lost that talent. That's the piece of talent they lost, is DeJounte Murray. The problem is DeJounte Murray and Trae Young were like oil and water when it came to just play on the court. They're both too ball dominant, and they didn't play with each other well enough. Hector Jimenez asking me on our YouTube live feed, given that Ainge is asking so much for Laurie, he thinks the Spurs should try and be a third team in the Laurie trade and get someone or something else, just like they did with Barnes. That could be enough to get into the top 6 in the West. Depending on what that something else or someone else is, I don't disagree with you at all. I don't. But what's the cost and what's that piece that's coming back? And who are you making better by giving Lauri Markkanen to? And trust me, if the Spurs aren't willing to go to Danny Ainge's asking price, I'm not sure the other teams that are in the market for Lauri Markkanen have to trade. The Spurs seem like the only team with enough assets to satiate what it would possibly take to get a Lauri Markkanen, because if you're the Jazz and you're moving on from Lauri Markkanen and you're moving on from Walker Kessler, you're trying to get to the bottom to have a chance at Cooper Flag or Ace Bailey. Like that would be the only reason you are trying to move on from a Lauri Markkanen, is you've decided this team can only be good by us drafting a dominant type of player. So you've got to go to the bottom to get there. What say you? 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776 if you want to be a part of the show. Coming up next, the Houston Astros. We're on the verge of the All-Star break. Some news this afternoon. Jose Altuve, who was named a starter, not playing in it. Who's taking his place? And what are the Astros looking to do post All-Star break as they've surged up the standings? We'll discuss next here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-707-6152. 800-707-6152. 800-707-6152.
It's Jason and Joe from the Blitz. Join us at Circa Las Vegas in August for the Circa Sports Ultimate Contest Weekend.
The Blitz will be live at Circa August 22nd and 23rd, and then we're staying for the weekend. Come to Vegas with us for the Ultimate Contest Weekend.
Circa Survivor and Circa Million are back. Enter in Nevada, play from anywhere.
So join the Blitz at Circa Las Vegas. More details and discounted rooms available online at sasportstar.com.
We're here with Jose Rios, attorney at the Gomez Law Firm. If you are injured in an accident or hit by a company vehicle, Jose, what's the first thing our listeners should do?
The first thing they should do is pick up the phone, call the Gomez Law Firm, or Google joegomezlaw.com.
Gomez Law has been protecting the people of our community for almost 50 years. They're the leader in personal injury law.
We do ride-sharing cases, we do carbon monoxide cases, 18-wheeler cases. Obviously, we've done those for very many years. Work injuries.
But that's not all your firm does, Jose. Tell us a little more about other cases Gomez Law takes on and wins here in Texas.
Really anything that involves a personal injury and a third party that is responsible for causing that injury, we will be happy to take a look at and see if we can help.
If you have been injured in an accident or hit by a company vehicle, then you need to visit joegomezlaw.com.
And remember, Gomez Law fights.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with the healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com for your free online visit, hims.com/joy.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health San Antonio will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 210-615-7777. That's 210-615-7777. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star and the Gomez Law Firm present the first annual Back to School Drive. Saturday, August 3rd from noon till 2 p.m. while supplies last at Gomez Law Firm, 2943 Moss Rock Drive. Free backpacks and school supplies for all school-aged children. Only while supplies last, so don't be late. Saturday, August 3rd from noon to 2 p.m. at Gomez Law Firm, 2943 Moss Rock Drive. Presented by the Gomez Law Firm and in part by Las Palapas, ProStar Home Care Services, and 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. It's Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I am James Pledger. You can follow me on X, Instagram, at I am Pledger. You can call into the show 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. This has been a very interesting season at most, to say, for the Houston Astros. Hell, at least. They started off the season just struggling mightily. They've dealt with injuries and are still dealing with injuries to this pitching staff, and injuries that you would have thought would have derailed the season, but instead they have started to overcome those injuries to, like, Justin Verlander, who they didn't have for a stretch at the beginning of the season, and now don't have for a stretch right now either. They are only 2 games back on the Mariners now in the AL West, and in the wild card standings, they are 2.5 games back of the Boston Red Sox for the final American League wild card. So they have made up a lot of ground after an extremely slow start. And as Daniel Batista says in our YouTube chat, they are rumored to be trading for Pete Alonso of the Mets. He's not only one, Luis Severino is also a name that they're tied to with them. They're also included, according to Fred Villarreal, to Arizona first baseman Christian Walker, which is true, but not the full extent of everything that they've been tied to. It feels like they may be very, very busy at the Major League Baseball trade deadline, as they are not only tied to those names like Severino and Pete Alonso of the Mets and Christian Walker of the Diamondbacks, but Cubs outfielder Cody Bellinger, White Sox first baseman Andrew Vaughn, and pitcher Garrett Crochet, as well as Tigers starting pitcher Jack Flaherty, Blue Jays starter Kevin Gausman, and others. They're looking to, and if you look outside of Bellinger, it looks like they're looking to add some depth in their starting rotation. And because of the cataclysmic failure at first base that they had with Jose Abreu, they are trying to rectify that in the middle of the season by going after, whether it's an all-star like Alonso or Walker, or maybe a serviceable first baseman like an Andrew Vaughn that can just be a threat within your lineup. And you're exactly right. And the point that I was getting to, Fred, they've made up 8 games in the division without one of their, if not their best player in the lineup, in Kyle Tucker. So also leads me to the fact of, once he gets back, how much better can this lineup be? Or B, you look at what he's going to cost moving forward. Are you looking to potentially in place of some of these other moves and maybe be able to bring in someone with a few years left on his deal by doing so? It's going to be interesting to see how Houston attacks this trade deadline. And remember, no non-waiver trade deadline anymore, like the way, like when they acquired Justin Verlander back in August after the initial trade deadline had passed. They've done away with that. You've got one trade deadline now. It is June 30th. That's when all trades have to be finalized by, or else nothing happens. So what they do moving forward is going to be very, very interesting. And I just want to give a quick shout out to Johnson infielder, shortstop, and second baseman Kason Cunningham. He announced his decision today. He is the best player in the state of Texas and the 7th ranked player in the country. He will be joining the Texas Longhorns and new head coach Jim Schlossnagle up there in Austin, as he committed today. This has been Extra Innings with Pleasure. I appreciate all of y'all for joining me this evening. We've got a fantastic end to our week coming up. It is going to be a Friday tomorrow, which means last show of the week, so you know I'm going to bring it for that. This has been fun. Astros, 2 games back. Trade deadline coming up on the 30th. All-Star game, that is coming up on Tuesday, along with the Home Run Derby, which, by the way, hometown favorite, since the game is in Arlington at Globe Life Field, you're going to see El Bombi. That's right. Adolis Garcia will be competing in the Home Run Derby. And now, with Jose Altuve taking himself out of the All-Star game due to a sore left hand, he will be replaced as a starter at Globe Life Field by Rangers second baseman Marcus Semien. So congratulations to the Rangers for that. And good luck to everybody moving forward. Rangers baseball coming up at 8 o'clock as they finish off that series with the Angels.
Looking for a way to elevate your engine's performance? Start with Napa Full Synthetic Engine Oil. It provides faster oil flow for hot and cold temperature protection in the harshest driving conditions. Regular use can help your engine run cleaner and longer by defending against sludge and buildup, improving overall engine performance and fuel efficiency while increasing the time between oil changes. Make the switch without slowing down. Feed your ride Napa Full Synthetic Engine Oil. Available now at Napa locations nationwide.
Hi, I'm April Rose, and we all know about the speed of sound. But have you ever thought about the sounds of speeding? If you drive over the speed limit, there are lots of sounds that you might hear. You could hear the sound of your vehicle crashing, the sound of first responders desperately trying to save you. You could even hear the sound of people crying at a funeral.